I'm gonna start this video being as straightforward as possible so that Ubisoft might spare me. This is gonna be the only leak I ever cover, and only because of how large it is. The leak has been floating around Twitter anyway. I'm Minotaur, and I want to go headfirst into the rabbit hole that is this Siege 2 leak. If you haven't already seen it, here's the leak. At this point, thinking it's fake is pretty reasonable, I'd say, but why don't we look a little deeper? Why don't we start at looking at the timeline for Siege's development to look for any hints that this leak might be true. Starting with year 1, we got 8 new operators, 4 new maps, 23.5 new guns. The half is in regards to Kaviri's secondary, as it's the same as Capitão's but with a weird suppressor. Year 2 had a hiccup with Operation Health, but had 8 operators anyway, 3 new maps and 19 new guns. Year 3 wasn't that special compared to the other two, aside from having the biggest event in Siege history. The year also brought 8 operators, 2 maps, and 15 guns. Instead of making new maps, they butchered Hereford and added some things to Clubhouse and Consulate. Year 4 is the last of the years that include 8 operators, but only has 1 new map for some reason. We also got 7 new guns. They reworked Canal and Theme Park. Year 5 comes along and oof. Only 6 operators. The first half of the year has nothing but recycled guns. Oregon, House, Chalet, and Skyscraper all got reworked, but we got 1 new gun, so it's okay. Yikes. I mean, what the hell happened in year 5? I mean, yeah, the game was going on some sort of decline up until this point, but then we get less new operators, no new maps, and a single new gun. The leak states that work started 4 years ago, which does put us in year 5, where Ubisoft seemingly dropped the ball. There was never any sort of recovery either, and from year 6 to where we are, year 9 season 2, we've gotten 13 operators. We've gotten 3 new guns in that time. We've gotten a few reworks, but only 3 new maps as well. Aside from operators, the year we got Operation Health had more content than the 3.5 years since the supposed time they've been working on the new game. Enough of looking at the past, let's focus on this year. We're only getting 2 ops. Fantastic. They added nothing this season. If they really have been working on a new game for 4 years, the time frame lines up for next season, year 9 season 3. Interesting. If we put this on a roadmap with the new game at season 3, we have space for only 2 seasons. We're getting 2 operators this year. What a strange coincidence. It's almost like they only planned for 2 seasons. But surely not, right? The other 2 seasons are absolutely bursting full of content. For example, the recruits can now access any secondary gadget in the game to use. They did that before. At least the recruits' models are different. They're taking off the mobile versions of Recruit. Why do you think they look so low quality? We got the marketplace though. Now the last 3 people who didn't have access before now do. We get some standard filters, and they remove windows off the stadium maps. The event is a copy-paste. Fenrir and Solus got nerfed. Fenrir is more tolerable, but still annoying as hell. Solus is now practically worthless. There's a match viewing update, which my copy of the game didn't get for some reason. I go into replays every day to edit, and my UI looks the same as the old UI. Round of applause. That's the new season. Season 4 isn't much better, and I won't get into it. I'll leave you with an image from it that made me giggle a bit though. The silver lining is that the leak leads us to believe that year 10 season 1 will be the launch of the new game at least. Before we start grasping at straws, we have one more major point to cover. The Division Heartland was supposed to be the 3rd installment into the Division series. What does this have to do with Siege? Well, Ubisoft shelved it, so they could put more resources towards X-Defiant and Rainbow Six Siege. It was cancelled last season during Deadly Omen. Allocating more devs to a project that's behind schedule makes sense, right? Well, there's a little bit more to it. The Division 2 uses a game engine called the Snowdrop engine. This happens to be the same engine the leak claims is used for Siege 2. Using veterans from the engine to assist the behind schedule cash cow wouldn't make as much sense if Siege 2 wasn't real. This is a little ironic though, as not only have the Division devs been divided up, the Snowdrop engine had a cheating problem when the Division 2 launched, meaning Siege 2 will still have a lot of cheaters. Yay! At this point, we've covered everything that's very upfront and obvious. Why don't we look at other various details that could hint towards Siege 2? Grasping at straws, if you will. For example, all the appearance updates, both what we've been getting and what's been planned. Projectile paths and drone jump visualization don't feel particularly Siege-like, but we'll leave those alone. This screenshot here is in the roadmap for Year 9. It doesn't really look like Siege to me. The photo just doesn't feel right. I couldn't quite put my finger on it, so I increased my graphics all the way and went into a custom game to compare. The lighting looks different. The screenshot Yubi provided looks brighter, with clothing in the light giving off bloom and clothing in the shadow not being as dark. And yes, it's the right map. Sunset with these bizarre stone shapes shows us that this is Villa. I own a copy of The Division 2, which, remember, uses the same engine as Siege 2 supposedly will. Let's open it and see a sunset. After opening the game and waiting for a bit, I got bored and googled how long a day was. Turns out I'm not showing you a sunset. You'll have to make do with a screenshot on medium graphics because my PC isn't good enough to run maximum. Even here, you can see that this screenshot looks similar to the lighting from The Division 2. The shadows in the roadmap screenshot are a lot more defined, whereas they're blurry in the live build of Siege. Even shadows cast on the environment are closer to The Division 2 than to Siege. The UI at the top is also bizarre because, despite claiming to be the arcade mode Team Deathmatch, the scores dictate that this is standard, which means bomb. The fact the Legion is standing with attackers mean that this does have to be in arcade mode though. How bizarre. Either something changed behind the scenes or the image is just a complete lie. On a separate note, I'd like to take a look at the New Blood Battle Pass really quick. In this Battle Pass, we have 3 new operator portraits. That doesn't really mean much until you consider that we usually only get 2. This could be seen as further proof that New Blood wasn't planned, as likely they needed to fill a slot in the Battle Pass and had to move something forward from Season 3. Probably the Wamai set, as nothing else matches it in the Battle Pass. That's about all the evidence I gathered, now let's briefly go over it once again. The timeline of 4 years feels accurate and is probably true. The usage of the Snowdrop engine seems plausible, as not only have some devs been moved from a Snowdrop engine project to Siege, but the roadmap picture either has to be from a different engine than Siege, or just a render that someone made. The delay also seems legit, as evident by New Blood and the lack of anything in the roadmap. The next Invitational being the last esports event lines up with my prediction that Siege 2 launches at the start of Year 10, as that would mean the first major is in Siege 2. That's all for today. That's going to be the first and last time I ever go over a leak on this channel. I'm curious though, what do you guys think? Have anything to add? I just managed to convince myself it's real, in all honesty, but we'll just have to wait and see. That's all from me. See ya.